How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Garden Groove Podcast. Today, we're going to be doing some fun stuff with AI. So
That's
Taylor has some AI tools that he would like to show us, different ways that we can manipulate audio and let the machine do some thinking for us. So I'm curious to see what we got and how we're going to use it.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a little intro on what
I'll give a little intro.
what we got and how we're going to use it?
So, AI. So, I've been looking at a bunch of different ways that we can use AI, and there's a few different versions of AI tools out there. There's tools that generate samples. There's tools that generate beats, and so I feel like you have that kind of classification of AI stuff,
Sort of like creative generation.
Yeah, just to get ideas,
generative
ideas for a melody, ideas for a groove, whatever. So you have that kind of classification of AI stuff, and then you have some plugins too. And personally, I think the plugins are the most exciting part right now. Maybe the generating stuff gets better, or maybe it already is better, and I'm not quite aware of it yet. And I know DAWs like Ableton already have some, they got a generating,
like a built-in kind of AI thing, or
yeah, that's new with the update, which I haven't messed around with it yet, but yeah, it exists, and so it's probably only going to get better. Quite obviously, you can't have an AI featured talk and not say it's only going to get better, because people are freaking out. So, I'm only going to go over 3 today, and then I'll give some kind of honorable mentions towards the end. So, the first one is something called Newtone. And this one's actually pretty old. This was out before AI got pretty big.
Oh, wow.
I think I actually first heard about it maybe 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Or something.
That's right at the beginning
Yeah.
of when we started seeing AI stuff.
So they've only had time to improve since then. And so we actually tried to do this episode last week, and my computer exploded. Pretty close to literally exploding.
Yeah, it was on
Everything
the
was
verge.
going wrong. There was feedback where there wasn't going to be feedback. Ableton was shutting down on me left and right, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I think it was Newtone. so I updated Newtone, and now it's fine. Now there's no problems with it.
Who makes Newtone? Or is that the name of the company?
This is it right here. So people watching, you can see this is Newtone right here. Guess it's just Newtone, right?
Newtone, yeah. Newtone Effects.
Yeah, Newtone Effects. So the update added FX for whatever that's worth. So maybe Newtone is the company, and this is the effects plugin. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. So how it works is pretty much like a vocoder works, and the way a vocoder works is it needs information to work off of. So I just built this silly little MIDI loop right here in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Hey,
That's got a club banger
it's kinda
written
cool.
all over it.
Yeah. So that's our information. So what Newtone is going to do is... Okay.
Whoa.
It's doing that.
What was that?
It's doing that to me right now, and I'm not 100% sure why. You'll figure out what that sound is. But so it's taking that information, and it's running it through Newtone, and Newtone is
creating a new tone?
giving it a new tone.
Whoa.
That's right.
That's
So
crazy.
you have all these different options here, and you got to download the option before you can try it. So I have a few from the old version that I liked, and I saw these ones today. So this says Rave model. I don't know what that means. RAVE model trained on NASA recordings. So
That's
it's
cool.
going to take the MIDI and it's going to do this. So here we go.
Whoa. So
Right?
it sounds like somebody communicating from the ISS.
Right. So I'm just messing with, there's 4 knobs at the top. I'm just messing with those right now.
Do we know what they each individually do?
Absolutely
We have no
not.
idea.
It
It kind of makes it more fun.
It literally says A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so we know what it is.
Okay, they change based on the preset that you're using, or the version, it looks like.
Yeah. So at the top it says A, B, C, and D. A is chaos, magnitude of latent noise. So this is let's just dive in. So this is everything down, and then I'm gonna turn up A. So nothing. Here's A. Sometimes it's literally nothing.
Yeah, there's not much
Yeah.
noise to pull from, I guess.
So it's A, this is B, this is... Okay, it's just confusing. Z edit index, index of latent dimension to edit. Does that mean anything to you?
I know each of those words individually.
I know what edit means.
I know what each of them mean on their own. Not sure what they mean all
In
put
that
together
order?
like that.
Not sure. C says scale of latent variable. Of latent variable? Okay, that just doesn't matter.
Well, it sounds like there's a predefined variable to change and a predefined dimension to change. The dimension
Yeah.
might be like the pitch of the vocal sound on this particular thing, and
Yeah.
the variability might have to do with how much variation there is. I don't know. That's a total guess, though.
Yeah. I don't really know.
Honestly, though, that's kind of makes it more fun, because then you just have a bunch of random knobs to turn,
You just toy with it, yeah.
and then it probably will lead you places you didn't expect to end up.
Yeah. This is trained on radio voices.
Okay.
So here's this preset. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
For like maybe some...
It's almost like a vocal sample mixed with like a flute sample.
Yeah.
What it kind of sounds like to me. In a room.
While I'm turning a knob. So it gets pretty weird.
Yeah, crank all 4.
So all 4 cranked is just wild.
It's very choppy. Huh.
Yeah. So
This is probably a sweet spot in there
yeah,
where
you
you
really
can
got
get
to
the
toy
most
with it.
out of it.
So there's a lot of cool ones trained on Japanese speech, but then you get into more instrument stuff. Like I downloaded bass sounds, beastly bass sounds, marimba sounds, which is, I'm going to show 2 more. So marimba sounds is pretty cool. So here's marimba. It's quiet as the dickens. Right, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Toying with
That's
the
cool.
knobs. Then you can get kind of ambient.
Whoa. That's mixing in some dissonant notes too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too.
You know what this would be cool for is doing like film scoring.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes, especially my brain immediately goes to like horror movies, because horror movies have the best sound design.
Yeah.
And something that's really popular in horror, especially like A24, like really trendy, popular, kind of cutting edge horror movies that are coming out. You get a lot of very peculiar sounds in the sound design when they're trying to build tension in a scene. There's
Yeah.
always like
Yeah.
there's always like something weird going on that you can't quite put a finger on.
Right, that's the whole point, right?
And it makes
Like,
you
can't-
uneasy. Yeah. So I
figure
feel
it
like that
out.
would be really cool for creating sounds like that.
100%.
Or if you wanted to bring some cinematic effect into a song, you could do that.
Yeah, 100%. So There's got to be a better way to do that. So I'm going to show one more. And it's my favorite one. And this is the one that convinced me to get New Tone when I was watching a tutorial. Because I was looking for choir sounds. I've always loved the sound of like a sampled choir. Mm-hmm. Like I've always loved that sound. So they have something that has been trained on a Bulgarian female choir, which is pretty cool.
I wonder if you can hear the accent.
Check it out. So, I guess for reference, I changed the melody for this one. For whatever reason. I wanted a longer note to kind of show.
Just to showcase. Why do you think it's not grabbing the last two notes?
Isn't that weird? I think it's just
it's just random.
It's just random. I don't think it's an octave thing. I don't think it's out of range.
It probably is. It might just be that for that algorithm, it needs a longer note to hold it.
I don't think that's it, though.
Oh, you don't? Really?
I think it's just like weird random... The randomness of each knob, I think, will not... It's not a phase thing, but you'll know what I mean. But like they do a weird phase thing with each other where they cancel each other out. Mm-hmm. That's my guess. Because it will catch on to short notes.
Maybe, it's just reacting in unexpected ways. Whoa. It feels like two extra voices came in or something.
Yeah.
Or there's more room sound.
Maybe you're right about short notes. So I went to the sample with all the short notes. So maybe you're right, actually.
Wait, play that one again? I just thought of something cool. Yeah, draw in a bunch of, like, random short notes. If you can, like, really fast. Yeah, like, put a bunch of them in there, like, just side by side. I bet you can make a crowd talking in the background. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, if you had, like... We don't have to do it right this second.
Well,
but you could create a background crowd talking.
Totally. So
again, you could use that in like a film score kind of situation.
Film score. That is a good point. I could hear that in Dune.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, especially like the female vocal thing.
Yeah. How dare I say that? Dune. No one can touch Dune. Sorry.
Well, hey, they had the lady that
she's so good.
Yeah, and she seems. I don't think she'd be offended by that comment at all. She seemed like the chillest person.
I know. If I were her, I'd be offended.
She's like, you can't replace me with AI.
Nothing can replace Dune. But so I put an arpeggiator on it.
Oh,
you could do that.
That's cool.
Didn't really do much.
You hear it gotta go up and down.
Yeah. I don't. That was my favorite one. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's cool. I'm just gonna toy with it, but.
Oh, that's cool. What does it say the A knob does?
Magnitude. Yeah, that's always been magnitude of latent noise for some reason. I don't know.
Sounds like you're like turning up the background noise a little bit, or you're like turning up some of the quieter, noisier elements of the sound potentially.
It could be true. So that's New Tone. I think that's so cool. Personally.
That's very cool.
Yeah, very film scorey, maybe some EDM
sound
things that you can do.
Ear candy.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of ear candy stuff with that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. So I know we're feeding it MIDI notes. Is there a way to feed it pre-recorded audio and have it garble that up and like?
Let's try it. So I got a trumpet sample.
Yeah.
Right here. So let's move it.
I'd just be curious to see if it would do anything.
So here's some sweet, sweet trumpet. Yeah. I thought it was just
that.
Me. So what we just did was run it through an audio take instead of a MIDI take. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. Let it play out a little longer. Yeah.
feel like I'm going crazy.
That's so cool. I just think it'd be cool to like imagine taking like all or most of your arrangement of like a song you're working on and feeding it through something like this and using it as like
put it on your master. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Let's try it. So I have a master. Oh no, I just have drums. No, I have a master right here. This is a mix I'm working on that we're gonna talk about in a second. You've already heard this song.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Moment.
So
whenever I have kids, that's how I'm going to scare them into going to bed. I'm like, you go to sleep or daddy's going to play his album with the AI
I'll
thing
play
on
you
it.
old AI plugins.
Yeah, I'll play you my whole album, but with only AI plugins.
You could put the wet on really low.
Yeah. And introduce some weirdness.
Why isn't it playing?
Oh, turn the dry up. Turn the dry knob all the way up. See, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, hear me out. That on like an outro of a song.
Yeah, you like feed it in.
You fade it into like 7 or 8%. You know, never like too much. That could be
cool.
kind of cool, like to spice up an outro.
I want to hear the marimba. Where did that go? They got a lot of options. They got like 50 options, which is pretty cool. Where's my marimba? Here's my marimba. Here's that same awful thing with marimba.
Well, I don't need it.
That's a ringtone right there.
It's a ringtone from hell.
Matter of fact, when this song drops, let me get this. I'm gonna make it my ringtone.
Okay, so that's new tone. Pretty freaking cool.
That's fun.
NEU tone, all one word.
And it's free, right?
And it's free. All these are not free. All these are free for 14 days at least. New tone is free until you die.
One fortnight.
One fortnight.
Freeness.
We gotta start saying Fortnite.
Yeah, the game ruined it for us. We gotta bring it back.
It's a great word. They took a great word from us.
Yeah.
So that one's free, like free. These next ones, I'm on a trial. So,
Gotcha.
these next 3 are by, Sonable. So next we have a smart reverb. It's by the same company, Sonable. So I got a trumpet track right here. Here's trumpet without reverb. Okay, we all agree that that's a trumpet. At least I hope.
I would agree.
Okay, now we can move on. So, the Smart Reverb has a bunch of different options. There's universal. So, yep, universal. Drums, snare, guitar, keys, vocals, speech. Let's try the universal. So... this is cool. Kind of roomy. And then so over here.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering what the sort of the smart element is.
He hasn't just a reverb.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
I realized as I was about to ask that question, it sounds like it sounds snarky, but I don't mean it that way.
Yeah, it sounds like a reverb. So you have these things over here. I think if we want it to be more natural, we can move it north.
Mm-hmm.
East is rich. South is artificial. West is intimate. Okay. Oh. Okay. And then So the cool thing with Sonable, my favorite is the EQ, which is actually what we'll get to after this. I got that EQ.
You got it?
I kind of love it.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so
You use it on everything?
I kind of am using it. I'm actually using it.
Look out, Pro Q3. They're going to have to make a smart Pro Q3 now.
Yeah, that's right. So you press this button and it learns your sound, and then it makes a reverb, which I did not do. So it's learning the sound right now. Now this is...
See, I could see using this on everything because
Yeah.
I never am a little exposing myself secret here.
Reverb's hard.
I am never happy with my reverb sounds. It's always too much or not enough, or I want there to be more, but I can't make it be audible.
1,000,000%.
And
That's what
I'm
Andrew
always
Sheps
just
says the same
landing
thing.
on, all right, this will do.
Yep.
You know, it's like I'm never 100% satisfied with it. So I would use this on absolutely everything.
And I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's say there's no trumpet option, but let's say we want guitar or maybe vocals.
Yeah, sure. Or wait,
What?
I want to know what that freeze button does. I think I know what it does.
Where
Down here.
is it?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's
Oh,
this
that's
guitar
cool.
pedal. There's a
Okay.
guitar pedal by Electro Harmonics called the Freeze. And they took one of their reverbs. They basically created a pedal that is just, it's that reverb, but you have the ability to, when you turn the pedal on, whatever you put into it sustains indefinitely.
You did show me that. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a reverb. I have the Electro Harmonics Cathedral, which has a freeze
That's right.
function on it. It's the same thing as
Right.
the Electro Harmonics Freeze. But when I saw that, I was like, that's definitely what that does. So that unlocks a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. You can create all kinds of ambient palettes.
Yeah, you can automate that thing too.
Yeah. And play over it.
Yeah. That's cool. What's Infinite's just the same thing.
It sounds like it. I
For
don't know. Let's see.
It says enable Infinite for an infinite reverb time. Oh, yeah. Kind of different.
So I think Freeze takes the initial input sound and immediately sustains that.
Yeah.
The Infinite just continues
The
sustaining
release.
whatever goes into it.
Yeah.
So that's why when there's more notes being played, the Infinite adds.
Builds.
So
Yeah.
the Infinite can definitely, I could tell you this right now, it's gonna get out of control on you if you just left the Infinite on and let a whole part play through.
Got a big snowball.
Yeah, you got a big snowball
Yeah.
effect. So I could see the Freeze being a lot more usable as long as your first note is like your root note
Yeah.
of the key that you're in. Then that's going to be the most usable. But the Infinite could be cool too, especially with automation,
Yeah.
because you could let it build up and then cut
totally.
it off, and
Yeah.
then let it build up again.
The
and cut
Weeknd
it
does
off.
that all the time.
Yeah.
His guy, what's his name? He's got a dope name. Whatever. His mixer.
Yeah,
Does that all the time.
I think there's some Kanye stuff that has that as well, where it just like you let it get super huge in the reverb to where it's almost like overbearing, and then cut it off.
That catches your ear.
Yeah, exactly. You just like critical mass and then cut and then build it back up.
Thumb to the. There's probably too much to get into with this. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to download that when I get home.
It's pretty dope. So it's a 21-day trial, maybe 30-day trial. I'm probably into it.
How much is it for the...
It's 120. They're not cheap.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I guess plugins
It's on
aren't cheap.
it's on the pricier
Yeah.
side.
120, 130.
I would say it's
Just, dude, every plugin
upper
company
mid-level.
does discount summer sales and
Yeah.
wait
I
for
feel like-
those.
I feel like every plugin's always on sale to some degree.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's very
if you buy a plugin not on sale, you got duped.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. You just had to wait.
Waves
A
is
week.
these aren't Waves plugins, but Waves is never not having a sale.
It's so true, dude. It's so true.
If you pay full price for a Waves plugin, you got robbed. You got finessed.
You couldn't have waited an extra week for
just
the springtime,
just check every weekend. There's gonna be something.
the 15th springtime sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey everybody, we're interrupting the podcast because we want to show you kind of what's really going on here at Garden Groove. This is a place where people can come in, record podcasts like we're doing now, but we can also record full bands in here. We've also had some people record just drum content or just drum tracks. So there's all sorts of options here, and that's kind of where Jackson comes in.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Jackson Maddox. I am the head audio engineer here at Garden Groove. So we have a lot of great gear now that we are really, really excited to share. The sound in the room is awesome. We've been recording bands in here. We've had people come in and do drum cover videos. And the way that this studio is laid out is so that you can come in here and feel like you can do whatever you can imagine in here. So we would love for you to bring in your next project, whatever that may be, and we would love to just be a part of that and help you out.
And if you also just want to hang out, we're doing monthly master classes. That's every last Monday of the month. So every month we're going to feature a new artist and entrepreneur in Nashville, diving into different Ableton things, diving into different photography and all sorts of different stuff. So you can check that out on all of our socials, and it'd be good to meet you all. And have a good day. And
Signing off. That was good.
All right, moving on. This is the EQ. This is the one I got. So I've been using it for, 2 weeks? Week or whatever.
Yeah.
That amount of time. So, so this is Connor's episode something. Great producer, great guitar player, fantastic arranger here in Nash. But here's we were shooting some content for Garden Groove. So here's just a snippet of that. Just some stuff. I'm gonna compress it a little bit. Whatever. Okay, so here's the Smart EQ. So I'm gonna have it listen to it. I will say the problem with it is it doesn't cut out below 30. It never cuts.
Uh-huh.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
It should be
You might
cut.
want to come in with another EQ and roll off.
I mean, yeah, whatever. It's
Just
not a big
after.
deal, but
Yeah.
I kind of wish it cut.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it gave us it listened to it, and then it gave us a curve. It was boosting pretty much anything below whatever that is, 300 or so. It dipped the 2K range, and then it boosted above 5K. That was on the universal setting. So that was on universal. And then there's also a knob where you can flatten the EQ, and then you can boost what it did or do the reverse of what it did. So I'll play with that so you can hear what it did. So here's flat, so it's not doing anything. Here's boosting it. Right?
I like what it's doing in that lower mid range. You start to hear a little bit more of the tactile sounds of the plucking of the strings.
Yeah.
Play it again.
Here's boosted all the way. Okay.
Yeah, then bring it back down, especially in there. So it gets thinner.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. Below 200
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing this is kind of a sidebar, but it's kind of relevant. One thing that I've always kind of adhered to is like the 300 to 500 hertz range on guitar or any instrument for that matter is where all the mud is.
Yep.
But every once in a blue moon, that's actually where you need a boost. And
Yeah, it's a dangerous game.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like having a tool like this can sort of it could be a great way to sort of check yourself, where you're not just doing the EQ moves that you think you should do or know tend to work. Because I find myself backtracking sometimes, especially when I'm working on my own music and I'm like really tedious about getting the guitar tones right. I find myself backtracking and going, am I just EQing this all wrong? And then I'll completely change the way I'm EQing it, and it's like, oh, I'll just kind of flip what I wanted to do before on its head and try something different.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so I'll show it on my drum mix after this, and I think it's already helped me so much. I'm just losing detail, and I'm losing detail and boosting too much lows, which
is doable.
Yeah.
It's real easy to overdo your low end.
So here's its electric guitar mix as opposed to the universal that we just heard. So we're gonna have it listen to it. So here it is.
Look where it's dipping.
Yeah, you're 1,000,000% right. Yeah. So this is it boosted all the way. And now I'm flattening it. Flat. Boosted.
Show us the inverse. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So then you can turn the knob to boost what it cut. So here's what that sounds like.
Doesn't even sound bad.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, that could be a vibe.
Yeah, if you wanted to go for a more like dead vintage?
Yeah,
vintage. If you want it to sound like it was recorded 50 years ago, you could kind of reverse it.
Put it in reverse.
That could be an interesting tool to sort of take what its suggestion is and invert it.
Yeah.
And I wonder, this is
that with the whole song. Could be cool.
That, or like invert everything on a song and see what it does.
Yeah.
Or you could do you could duplicate a track and invert, you put this on one of those tracks and invert it, or boost wherever it says to boost, and then mix it in, like blend it in with the original one. Just to have introduce some sort of flavor.
Yeah. That's interesting.
You could get into some weird phase territory potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
So that would be something to look out for, but I don't know, it could be cool.
Yeah.
Was that by chance, was that recorded with the Beyer M160?
Little round top?
Yeah.
Silver round top?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a good mic.
Nice.
It always sounds good.
Yeah, Connor's got one of those. He uses that, or I think he usually uses that. He's got a HIME amp. It's local.
HIME. Local brand?
Heim? Yep.
Heim.
They're cool. It sounds
I feel like I've heard the name or I've seen it somewhere. That's cool.
Okay, so drums. So the EQ options here are drum set, hi-hat, kick, snare. So this is a drum set mix. So here's my mix. All right. That hurt me to hear that actually a little bit. Now here's the EQ, so now it's going to listen to it. Yeah. So it just gave us the EQ. So it's not doing a lot in this case. It's taking down from 150 to 500, boosting 1K-ish. Really subtle stuff. So here's it flat, and then I'm going to boost it, and then I'll show one thing about it.
The character of the hi-hat changes a lot. There's a big shift in
So it's bright, yeah.
in the upper mid-range of the hi-hat.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't.
It gets a little more detailed and there's like on the early phase of you going up with this thing, you hear a shift happen where it's like,
Yeah.
there's like a carving out of something.
Yeah.
Because usually the lower frequency of any cymbal is, so like 2.2K to 4K ish is always like a problem area for me typically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because anything above 4K, that's where you get the nice detail
Right.
and more sizzly sound. Anything below that sounds like
Interesting.
That was a horrible sound, I'm sure. Sorry if you're wearing headphones. Jump scare.
The last thing I'll say about this is I wish it cut, but you can have it not affect certain ranges.
Oh, cool.
So I can move this to only do its correction from 2K and above. So that's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. I just wish you cut.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And you don't have to mess with the overall sound necessarily. You can just kind of pinpoint a frequency range.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of cool to me. I got one more AI.
Oh.
Sorry. So there was one thing at the bottom of that was messing with phase, which honestly, I probably should learn more about that. Like how, I was listening to actually the Weeknd's mixer. He will use a certain setting. No, he won't cut out 30 hertz. He won't use a cut. He'll just drop it.
Yeah.
He won't use a pass. He'll just drop it
Yeah.
because of phase reasons. And I was like,
Interesting.
really? I've never heard of that. So like I should be doing more research to figure out like why. I've never heard of that except for him.
I don't know about the phase stuff, or I don't know exactly what. It probably has to do with mid-side stuff.
Yeah.
Like the phase relationship between the low end on the sides versus the middle.
Yeah.
But one thing that I have started doing myself is instead of just cutting a frequency altogether or cutting all the way down to just the highest frequency that you want in there or the lowest frequency that you want and cutting everything above or below, I found that doing a shelf and just even heavily using the shelf can kind of produce that sort of desired outcome in a more balanced way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
was
as you're
trying to say.
cutting frequencies out where they're just no longer a part of the signal, at times that can have an unwanted effect of it sounding like you're losing some detail or some richness to the sound, and you don't always just want to. Now, of course, I'm using I'm using high pass and low pass filters left and right all over my mixes. But something that I have started to just kind of gravitate towards, especially with working on guitars or like my mono overhead, if I just want less cymbal in there, instead of cutting everything above a certain frequency spectrum, just lower it. I kind of picked that up from the Jakir King. There's a video on YouTube. Jakir King is doing a drum setup with universal audio. I think I showed you the video, but that's one thing he does. He has like a kit mic, and he's like, I don't want any ride cymbal in this kit mic, but the ride cymbal's right above it. So he went up to like 6K and just turned the high end all the way down. He didn't use a high pass or a low pass filter. He just turned it down. So there's some of it still in there somewhere. And in a way, it's like, it's probably where the phase thing comes in.
But you're cutting out that harsh frequency, but when you do a shelf... Oh, you're saying shelf?
Yeah, shelf.
I was going to say you could also just do a bell, and you're still getting the air coming out of it.
That's another thing. A big one for that is like EQing bass. You want the low lows, and you want like 100 to 250 or 300 on bass is the most audible frequency. You can feel everything in the low range, but if you want the kick to punch through, you need to cut something. So I always pick like 55 hertz, like right, or with the Pro Q3, you can look at where the kick is hitting. You just pick that frequency where the kick is at its highest. And then you just pull that, but then you can boost the low lows of the bass and boost the low mids or upper lows of the bass.
I've been doing the Jason Joshua soothe trick for that.
Oh yeah, where he like
Literally
reversed.
just cuts out the frequency where the kick is coming through.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's just a side chain for specific frequencies. So cool.
So many different things you can do.
I love it. Last plugin is only for the OGs, for the people using Ableton, for my people. Also,
Whatever,
we probably
man.
shouldn't be tracking in Ableton. To be clear,
Don't track it.
don't track in Ableton. But if you're like a fun guy, use Ableton. You know. Anyway,
If you're a fun producer.
so there's a plugin called Magenta, Magenta.
Okay.
Magenta. It only works in this mode with Ableton, and I'm such a fool in vertical mode. So we got a few options here. So generate is where we're going to start. So it does what it sounds like it does. We press it. It's going to load up an app that you got to download. It all downloads automatically with it, but here's our generate. So I want it to generate some drums. So I selected one where my drums are, and they're going to generate in slot 1, this top left square. That's my slot 1. I want 4 variations, so it's going to make 4 squares. And temperature is how fired you want it to be. Do you want it to be very complicated, or do you want there to be very few notes?
How busy?
Yeah, how busy.
Okay.
I don't like the busy ones, so I usually go pretty low.
Is it like in Logic or GarageBand with Smart Drummer, where the more complicated you go, the more they start playing just like weird, irregular beats?
1,000,000%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like,
just making up notes like,
yeah,
oh,
like
here's more
like,
notes.
Not even caring about where the one is. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not what I meant. But
That's why it goes temperature low.
yeah.
So, generate. Here's an example. I'm using the default analog drums in Ableton, so there's better drum racks out there. Just take that with a grain of salt.
Little intro.
Okay, that's 1. That's 2. This is 3. Okay. I can get down to that. Here's 4. All right.
Pre-chorus.
Yeah. So that's the drums. Now the melodies, you can do the same thing. So generate, you select melody instead of drums. Melody, slot 1, 4 variations, whatever, temperature low. And the important thing here, I think, you got to select your scale. You can do this in Ableton. So it's only going to, we're in C. So it's only going to select notes that are in the C scale. Otherwise, it's all over the place. So generate. Here's one of those. Here's the first one.
A little descending bass line kind of deal.
Next one.
Play one of the drum beats.
Yeah, all together.
Are they in the same tempo?
This was what it made. Oh, yeah, same tempo. Because 120 is...
Okay, Tron.
That's a bop.
This is like literally what Daft Punk made for the Tron movie.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's when they're like walking into the nightclub.
Yeah. So I won't go through all of them. So Groove is kind of cool. So Groove, what it does is... Oh, maybe I didn't want to do that. It just adds dynamics or velocities in this case because it's MIDI.
It's like randomizes the velocity.
Yeah, that's it. It is kind of cool though. So analog drums, we'll do it on our top left square. Temperature kind of low. what will it do? That'll turn orange. So it's just saying it'll save over that clip. I said, that's cool. So here's what it did. That's pretty trash.
That was a more simplistic loop that they gave us. Maybe try the bottom one. It's a little more busy.
Let's do that. Okay. So you can hear
see the
accents.
Yeah, it's got a little swing to it. Maybe it's not like quite on the. Dude, if I was a filmmaker, I would be using this in the background to like have scratch background or scratch scoring.
Totally.
You know, like you could really like generate some ideas on the fly.
Yeah.
If you were like a movie editor or something.
Just get ideas going.
Yeah, just to get ideas going, establish the vibe of the scene or something.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of usage for like film applications with all of this stuff.
I can totally see it. Interpolate. I'm not going to do it, but it combines the two and it kind of makes an average between the two. So like, let's say you like 1-4 generate and 2-4 generate, but you only like certain aspects. You could do interpolate and it'll make a combination of the two. And then drumify, you assign it to a melody and it will make more of a drum groove out of the melody. I'll show that one, and then that'll be my last one. So we drumify 4/4 generate that box up there. So here's what it turned it into. Right, so it kind of has overlapping notes. So it kind of makes it a groove. You can bring that over into the groove. So it either generates or combines the things it generated, essentially.
Gotcha.
And then the last one is continue. If you want, instead of a 2-bar melody, or in this case a 4-bar melody, you can make it an 8-bar or a 16-bar melody.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, those are the 3 that I thought were most interesting.
Yeah, that's super cool.
My honorable mentions are in my notes. My honorable mentions. Moises, we've mentioned Moises. Most people know Moises, but it helps you. You can, if you take a song, you can have it focus on the drums and just take out the drums, and it leaves the rest of the song intact. You can do that vocals, guitars, bass, whatever. There's something called Sovits, Sovits.
Sovits?
Sovits? You can fake a voice, so I'll sing into a mic and then Drake's voice would come out.
Oh, that's cool.
It's one of those.
That's a lot of fun.
Play phrase is one that I've used actually, and it's a website where you go in and you type in a phrase. So you say, "Look at the moon," and it will find every movie that is said, "Look at the moon," and it will find that scene, and you can use that as like a sample in your lo-fi beats and shit.
That's
stuff.
cool.
Play phrase.
Also,
Yeah.
little pro tip: if you're trying to find movie samples for lo-fi beats, the movie Her, just take any line that Joaquin Phoenix said in that movie.
That's pretty
They're
good.
all like sad and depressing, but really good for lo-fi beats.
That's pretty good.
Just take any line from Her; it'll work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's my AI show and tell.
Well, hey, maybe AI is not gonna take us over just yet, and we're gonna make a little music before we go into the Matrix.
I think it just has to be like a little co-pilot. I think it's just
Yeah.
gotta be there to help you figure out like, oh, I could be EQing that way,
Yeah,
or I could make a melody like this. I never thought about that.
yeah, it just kind of gets the creative juices flowing in a different way, and
Yeah.
can kind of spark something unexpected.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. So that's that.
Very cool.
That's some AI tools.
Well, on that note, AI.
AI.
Very cool. Well, that about wraps us up for this episode. We'll be back at y'all with another episode very soon. And anything we got to plug right now?
No.
No. All right.
No. Great.
See y'all next week.